Also, a side note to that, from our physical mind's point of view, our third dimensional linear time-space point of view, what actually is the straightest line from a spirit point of view may seem like it's all over the place. So if we're thinking outside the box for a moment and we're thinking of higher dimensional ways of seeing things, what from a limited dimensional point of view may seem like a path that goes all over the place, from an interdimensional point of view or from a higher dimensional, trans-dimensional point of view, that may actually seem to be like a straight tunnel, straight into the light, straight into your goal, straight into your purpose, straight into your theme, straight into who you truly are. So what is a straight line from spirit, non-linear point of view, may be dropped into physical reality as these little nuggets of excitement. And to the physical conditioned mind, it may not make any sense, but it's still coming from the most immediate, direct, effortless line. And that is why it's wise to follow your excitement and to trust in this guidance principle. So have fun with it. Have fun with it and trust it all the way. Don't stumble, well, you can stumble, but don't fear, don't flinch. Remain in trust of your excitement. What excites you the most in that moment, and then go for it in that way. So here's an interesting principle, and you can start to see this operate in your own life, and it has always already operated in a very similar way in your life, but just unconsciously. Let's just use the hand because you always have this, so you can always use it as an analogy. So let's say at any given moment in your life, you have 5 options that seem obvious to you. I could go read a book, I could go start my tennis coaching company, I could go and rock climb, I could go to bed, or I could take those supplements I'm really excited about. So let's say you have these 5 options, and one of them stands out as the most exciting option. Let's say this is the most exciting option, the highest option in that sense. Then there's an option that is second most exciting, then there's an option that's third most exciting, then there's an option that's not really that exciting, and then there's an option that feels like complete total obligation and there's no excitement in that. Not just because you procrastinate or define it as negative, but simply because it really, on a gut level, on an energy level, it does not resonate for you. It doesn't feel good, right? So there's this full range from the most exciting, the most blissful option to the most depressing option, and this being the central, most neutral option. So if you use that as an analogy, what you have been doing already all your life is choose one of these options, usually fairly unconsciously, I might say. So let's say that you choose this option, right? Pretty much the most depressing option, except for this even more depressing option. So when you choose this not so exciting option, but you'll just, go for it, let's do it, because maybe in the future it will give you freedom, maybe in the future it will give you joy and happiness if you do this. So you just keep doing this. What happens as soon as you choose this option on any particular day, out of this option comes, 5 new options, right? 5 new options flow from this choice that then are represented. They have as their baseline, their center point is of the frequency that this one was of. So then you have a few options above that line, and you have a few options below that line of frequency of the rate of your vibration, the excitement of your state of being. So what happens if you keep choosing the more depressing option is that the next set of 5 options become more and more and more depleting. They become more and more not who you are, less and less of who you actually want to be. So it's very crucial that you start choosing at least one of these 2 highest options, depending on what your belief system can hold. If this is too much for you, if this blows your brain, if you cannot imagine just quitting your job and being supported by your passion purely, if you don't believe that is actually true and that can actually happen, then perhaps this is the option for you at that time, until you get some practice and you gain some confirmation that this is actually how it works. You gain some trust in the process, and then suddenly the most exciting, outrageous option becomes all you're ever gonna want to choose. But let's say for now you're still practicing, so this would be your normal mode of going. In a bad mood you would choose one of these, in a good mood you would choose the central one, or perhaps this one. So then choose this one, the one that's most exciting to you and still feels actionable to you. You choose this option, the next 5 set of options, their baseline center frequency will be that of this option. What this option felt like to you, the baseline of the next 5 set of options will be of this frequency to you, with 2 options higher than that and 2 options lower than that in frequency. Now, if you choose the most exciting option, that means that the 5 options that flow from that will have a baseline frequency of true joy and excitement. And you can take it even further from there, or you can drop it down a little from there if it's too much bliss and you can't handle it. So this is a very important principle to remember, that the choice you choose right now will lead into a next set of options that is representative, that is in alignment with the choice you just made. So if you want these options to become more and more exciting, you need to consistently, fearlessly, boldly choose your highest joy. So it's very crucial that you start practicing this. Put it to the test, because this is the only way you're going to live it. This is why you're following this course. It's because you wish to experience yourself from a more heart-based place, from a more blissful, joyful place, from an empowered space of being. You wish to know who you are, not in specifics, but in frequency. You wish to feel who you are. You wish to feel connected to the truth of who you are. So one, you got to test this out. You got to try it out. You got to put it to the test. You got to have to put it into practice. Dedicate yourself to this, to the choose the most exciting option principle I just explained. Follow it like you would a breadcrumb trail, with no expectation of where the next breadcrumb will appear, what it will look like. Just purely, oh, this excites me the most, let me enjoy this moment. And then knowing that as soon as that moment ends, there will be something else that may be most exciting, or that may feel the most aligned or the most peaceful. So try this out, follow the breadcrumb trail of your joy. 2, you will start to see results. This is guaranteed, because physical reality cannot help but reflect what you are, what you do, what you choose, okay? So this is a given. You will start to see results. If you consistently follow this for a few days, you will start to feel, experience, see proof and results. Step 3 is a natural result of step 2, which is based on the results, you will gain trust. You will gain confidence in this process. When you've absorbed that confidence, when you've completed a cycle of acting on your joy, seeing the results of it and gaining the trust from it, you have bumped up your baseline frequency that much more. Your confidence, your empowerment, your sense of being connected to the universe, the sense that your higher self is taking care of you, that you are guided, that you can act on your highest excitement all the time, and that that does support you completely, and that that is the wisest choice, etc. So you gain trust in this, and this bumps up your frequency level and bumps up your frequency level. And so you become more and more excited. You become more and more turned on and tapped into life and tuned into who you actually are. And this is so, 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 so worth it. There's no sense in living your life without embodying your individuality completely, without being a vessel of the true vibration that you wish to bring forth, explore more of, and share more of with other beings. So test it out. See results, and gain trust. For this lesson's homework, I want you to, I would almost say clear your schedule, but this is sort of more metaphorical than literal. So clear your schedule of all other priorities. Doesn't mean you necessarily are not, doing your job anymore, or handling the emails that you need to handle for your business, or that you're no longer spending time with your family. It doesn't mean literally necessarily clear your schedule. Although if you have an opportunity to do that as well, that's absolutely great and fine, and you can do that. But clear your schedule, in a sense, mentally or energetically, or of all other priorities, and infuse it with something else. The priority is, therefore, now to follow your joy, to act on your excitement. So make this your priority for the next 6 days, at least. And so in 2 days from now, you'll open up the next lesson, which will add to this principle of following your joy the balancing point of understanding integrity, mastering integrity, becoming more familiar with a truer, more aligned, more universal idea of what integrity means. Because often people run into this idea that they cannot follow their joy without sacrificing their integrity. This is not true. But for the next 2 days, simply practice acting on your joy and see the things that you bump into. If at any point you doubt and you feel like you're about to make a major sacrifice on your integrity, simply don't do it. Don't follow your joy until you're clear on that balance. But in any other scenario, take your joy as far as you can take it, meaning that every single moment you ask yourself, this requires devotion, this requires dedication. This is why I say clear your schedule, metaphorically speaking. Prioritize following your joy. You do this every moment of every day. You start acting to the best of your ability on the highest possible options so that they lead into new higher options, higher options, higher options. The more diligently, the more committed, the more excited in a way you're doing this, the more awesome the results will be, and the more quickly you'll gain that trust and bump up your core frequency. And then so many of your questions and confusions will simply disappear, because you will be in an energetic state of connection to your true, wiser self, and you'll always be in alignment with who you are. And all the answers will flow from that, and all the empowerment you need will flow from that, etc. So for the next 2 days, try this out in a sense on your own, meaning without further knowledge of integrity and some of the other things we'll get into, but just to try it out like a baby trying out something new, like a kid trying out some new skill, getting used to it, getting used to what it feels like to prioritize joy over the things you think you have to do. So do that for 2 days, for 6 days actually, but for the first 2 days you keep doing that on your own to the best of your present knowledge, just as an experiment. Then I'll give you, in the next lesson, I'll give you some balancing ideas regarding integrity, how to maintain integrity while you're following your joy. Then 2 days later again, so after 4 days from now, once you've implemented some of that integrity knowledge and wisdom and clarity, we'll get into the 3-day process, which is a highlighting or clarifying idea that will show you how the creation process works in our everyday life on a practical level, so that you can start to recognize this process while you're acting on your joy, and you can start to recognize the challenge in that, and then no longer be bogged down by it. So what this does is it avoids that you go back to your old state. That's what most people do. They get excited, but then they feel betrayed. Then they feel let down. Then they feel like it's not possible. Then they go back to their old space of being. In order to avoid this, in order for you to become a snowballing effect, like an accelerating powerhouse, basically, of manifesting your life in ever more beautiful, pristine, crystalline ways, you need to understand the process, You need to understand the process of the 3-day process. So after 4 days, I'll explain that to you. And then after 6 days, you've practiced it on your own device with the best of your knowledge, like a kid trying out something new. Then you've added the balancing point of mastering integrity, or at least understanding more of how integrity works and how it does not have to be opposing your joy. In fact, it's a part of your joy, how those two blend together perfectly. And then the idea of the 3-day process, so that you can always recognize what's happening, how the feedback system of creation works, so that you can empower yourself even more. Enjoy.